So I'm going to cut everybody off because now we're going live. So I'm going to start recording and we are live. Hello, everyone. And today is a special treat for all of you on my Facebook page because we're coming live for what we call a Thrive Thursday Masterclass in one of my communities that I run, Leap for Ladies. And Ashley K. Butler is here with us today, teaching you how to be the bank. Now, I follow these steps. I follow these rules. I am my own bank. I have all these accounts. I absolutely freaking love what she's going to be talking about today. And the beautiful part about it is, as women, we need to be educated about money. This is a very important topic. And I know a lot of women out there really aren't educated with money. They don't know how they should invest, where they should put their money. They have questions about expenses in their businesses, or what is the best way for me to do tax-free dollars, pre-tax, after tax? Where do I put my money? And I love it because when I talked to Janice the other day, who is Courtney's boss that's on here, she said, she talked about insurances, and I was like, ding, ding, ding. I said, you're the bookkeeper that I want to talk to, right? Because I think then everyone's aligned. When I talk to a bookkeeper or a CPA, I suggest you do IRAs. I suggest you do all of these pre-tax dollars, which, by the way, 20 years from now, or however many years till you retire, you pull that out, you're probably going to be at a higher tax bracket. I'm like, no, 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 that's not what you want to do. So Ashley, I'm not going to steal your thunder, but you have so much pizzazz, so much personality. You're super spunky. You're at the Empower and Elevate conference. And I'm super excited to have you here today to teach us more about how to be your own bank. I think there's this, that's too good to be true scenario that people have with a lot of these steps, so they can't wrap their head around it. So I know that you're going to do an amazing job today helping them really understand that. So I'm going to spotlight you and you can take it away.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Colleen. Yes, ladies, hello. Thank you guys so much for having me here. I'm super, super, super excited. I can't even get the words out of my mouth. That's just how excited I am. No, but seriously, so just like Colleen was saying, yes, I'm new to the community. So excited to be here. Was so happy to connect with Colleen. She is an amazing human being. This past March at her conference, I'll be at the next one this year coming up, and also the following ones to come. So Colleen, thank you so much. Thank you guys for the community. Ladies, thank you for being here, either on person here, or if you're going to catch us later, we're looking forward to connecting with you. But yes, I'll go on. I'll take it away. Just really quickly, just about who I am. I'm new to Arizona. Been here for about a year and 3 months now, and have just gotten connected with some really, really amazing people. And actually, one of them is here, Yvonne Burke. Thank you guys so much for having me. I am an associate of Alpha Omega Wealth, and have been really, really blessed to have things come and line up the way that they have over this past year of being here. So super excited about this, guys. I'm going to share just a brief presentation. And Colleen, you let me know if you can see this here. Uh-oh, not the Facebook, guys. I am not on Facebooking. I am not. Okay, here we go. All right, so let me know if you guys can see this. Okay, got it. Cool. Okay, perfect. So ladies, so today we're going to be talking about being the bank, just like how Colleen mentioned. And again, just a little bit about my background. So I grew up as an Army kid, and one thing that I got was that change is inevitable. It's going to be a constant. So we might as well grow, and continue to change and be better as human beings. And one of the things that I've been able to find has really been this concept right here, as far as how I can change, how I can pretty much improve my how I can improve my financial life, and also be able to empower others to be able to do the same thing. So just really quickly, as an associate of Alpha Omega Wealth, the information that we have here, it's not written or intended as to be a specific legal or tax advice. So we are not tax advisors, lawyers, or anything. So we do encourage you guys to be able to seek, the advice, from your own tax or legal counsel. Just an FYI there. All right. So as we're getting into this, ladies, so before we get into, okay, what is it like being at the bank, having all these accounts? For those of you who have never heard of this concept, really what we're going to be diving in today is I want you to be able to think. So this is something that it's not brand new. Actually, this is very old, and this has actually been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. So I want you to be able to think. And so this is a quote from Thomas Edison. He had said back in his day, he had said that 5% of the people think, 10% of the people think they think, and the other 85% would rather die than think. So I know that sounds silly, but think about it. It's again, think about it. It is really true though. I mean, when it comes to hearing an idea, something that the masses don't know too much about, they tend to get skeptical. They tend to, think, oh, it's a scam, it's this, it's that, and so many other things. And unfortunately, that tends to, that tends to cast doubt, especially in my industry of financial services. So we're going to be diving into that today. And this is a little side, a little comic here. So here on one side, we have an inconvenient truth. We're not talking about you Al Gores out there, but we have what's called the inconvenient truth. And then we also have the reassuring lie. So notice how the reassuring lie has this long line of people, which is what I like to call the masses. Okay. But the other side is there's nobody there. It's an inconvenient truth. And again, this goes back to thinking how we see the world, how we see, especially when it comes to money and finances, how we see that and going about it in a different way. Okay, so today we're talking about a paradigm shift. Now, what does that mean? According to the Webster's Dictionary, it says here it's an important change that happens when pretty much the way of thinking about or doing something is pretty much replaced by a new and different way of thinking. All right. And so we all have seen the iceberg, I guess picture as far as what's shown above and also what is not shown below. So in economics, we have what's called the seen, what they want us to see, and by they I mean financial institutions, and then also the unseen, what they don't want us to see. All right, and what do I mean by that? Okay, so by that we have what's called the common knowledge. The common knowledge, this is what everybody is doing. So if everybody's doing it, it must be okay. Not true, because there's what's called the uncommon knowledge. All right, and by that I mean uninterrupted compounding. I'm talking about guaranteed returns. I'm talking about tax-free gains. I'm talking about a multitasking dollar. And I'm also talking about financial velocity. And so we're going to be going over these things here really, really quickly today. If you guys are interested in getting more information, I will be sharing my contact information throughout with Colleen to be able to share with you all. And so when it comes to uninterrupted compounding, what it is that we're talking about, a dollar that is continuously growing, it's not being interrupted. And for guaranteed returns, I'm telling you, this is the number here. This is what you're going to have 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, whatever the case is. We're talking about guaranteed returns. And then tax-free gains, that's literally what it means, tax never. And then we're also talking about a multitasking dollar. So $1 that serves many purposes. And then of course, financial velocity, meaning that money moves. So we've been taught, a lot of us, here, have been taught when it comes to major financial institutions, just park your money here and just let it sit for 20, 30 years and hope and pray that, taxes, inflation, and fees don't eat it. But when it comes to these major financial institutions, they're not doing that. They're telling us to do that, but they are doing they're pretty much doing the complete opposite of what it is that they're telling us. All right. So looking at the very first one, interrupted versus uninterrupted compounding, Albert Einstein, one of the greatest mathematicians and physicists of all time, he said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it, or in our case, she who understands it, earns it. And then, of course, she who doesn't, they end up paying it. All right. Now, what does that look like here? So just in a theoretical sense, let's imagine that we have a penny, and I'm pretty sure many of you have probably heard of this example, but if you haven't, let's take the doubling of a penny every single day. So we take one penny, and for 31 days, we're going to double that penny. So on day 2, we have 2 pennies, day 3, 4, day 4, 8 cents, day 5, 16, 32, 64, and so on. By week 14, we have $81.92. By day 21, we have a little over $10,000, but this is where we interrupt the compounding, meaning we take the money out. So by day 22, we have $20,971. All right, but let's say we have a car issue. Let's say we have something in our business that needs to be taken care of, and we have to pull the money out. We have just interrupted that compounding, and now we have to start all over again, pretty much continuing the cycle all over again. So this is what I mean by interrupted compounding. And then let's take it from the stance of uninterrupted compounding. So day 1, we have that same penny. And then of course, we're going to double that every single day. And the same thing. So pretty much by day 7, we're at 64 cents. Day 14, $81.92. Day 21, a little over $10,000. And then by the end of that 31 days, we have accumulated a little over $10 million by uninterrupted compounding. Now, of course, this is a theoretical example. So what does this look like in our everyday lives when it comes to uninterrupted compounding? I'll show you. All right. So this is pretty much what it looks like whenever we are interrupting or continuing the compounding of our dollars. So we always have what's called the debtor. This is the person that tells me, Ashley, I can never seem to get out of debt. I always have all these credit cards. I can never seem to really get ahead. That's whether it's in business or if they're professionals, whatever the case may be. So pretty much they find a way getting back down to zero, but then they get back into debt and they continue that cycle over and over and over again. Then we have what's called the saver. This is the person that is very, very disciplined. This is the person that pays cash for almost everything. So they start at zero, save up all this money, and then make a purchase. Start again, build it back up again, then back down to zero. They keep continuing the cycle over and over again. But this is the thing with that. They keep interrupting that compounding. All right. But what if I told you there was a way where you can take advantage of both? You can be both the saver and the debtor, and without creating, and also without interrupting that compound interest. This is what I call the wealth creator. So pretty much, again, using that same dollar, using it for multiple purposes without interrupting your compounding. All right. And this all goes into as far as where do you store your money? All right. So Colleen talked about this a little bit at the very, very beginning, but there's different tax buckets. So there's only three. All right. So there's a taxable bucket, which means you're getting taxed now. And what is that? That is interest. That's your salary. That's bonds, dividends, stocks, mutual funds, different things of that nature that you are getting taxed today on. All right. And then we have what's called tax deferred. That means not tax now, but tax later. All right. And so that's deferred compensation. That's annuities, that's IRAs, and that's also 401ks. So while it is good to have that advantage now, but again, just like Colleen said, who knows, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, we don't know what the tax rate may be. And also, you may very well be at a higher tax bracket at that time. All right. And then we have my favorite, which is what's called the tax-free bucket, which means tax never. And there's only a few things in there. So that's the Roth IRA, that's municipal bonds, and lastly, cash value life insurance. Now I want you ladies to take a look at these buckets right here. So you see here on the far left side here, we have a long list of things that's taxable. And then as we move towards the right, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And I wonder why that is. More to come soon. I'm just kidding. All right. So guys, so I want you guys to understand, again, like I said, what it is that we're talking about today when it comes to becoming your own bank. This is nothing new. And banks discovered this many, many, many years ago, many, many decades ago, actually. And so Bank of America, I want you to take a look at, what it is that they did as far as being able to take advantage of becoming pretty much being the bank and assuming that banking function. So we took a look at the Bauer Financial Report, and this comes out every single year, but this is as of 2017. And even though this is a much older report, things have not changed. If anything, it's actually gotten bigger and bigger. Okay. So back in 2017, the Bank of America, they had received $909 billion of deposits. And where did those come from? That came from the savers. Okay. So pretty much savers had pretty much worked, put in their paychecks, deposited their money into the Bank of America, into their banking system. And then of course, the Bank of America, they were able to lend out that money for obvious, things such as credit cards, auto loans, home loans, whatever the case may be, business loans, whatever the case is. And so with that, they had ended up paying savers $3.1 billion, while they in turn made $49.9 billion. All right, so they had paid us, the savers, those of us who had deposited money into their bank, they had paid us 0.34%, while they ended up making 5.5%. And if we do the math on that, what we're going to see is that for every $16 that the Bank of America made, they paid us $1. So that is a 1,600% spread. And you may wonder, okay, well, how are they able to do this? Okay, it's this thing called fractional reserve banking. So pretty much for every dollar that we deposit into any bank, I don't care if it's Bank of America or wherever you choose to bank, they have what's called fractional reserve, meaning they can lend out every dollar that you put in, they can lend that up to 6 to 10 times for different things. All right. And so the reason why this whole becoming your own banker came about is this great man who the reason why Alpha Omega Wealth exists today and was founded back in the year 2000. He had discovered what it was that banks were doing, and he had pretty much exposed it. And he ended up becoming the author of Becoming Your Own Banker, Unlocking the Infinite Banking Concept. He had discovered what the major banks were doing, and also what major corporations were doing, how they were able to take advantage of this. All right, and then sorry, here we go. So guys, when we're talking about becoming your own banker, this is really, if you guys don't get anything from today other than this is what I want you to understand as far as what it means to become your own banker. This is the difference between savings versus investments. Savings is something that you cannot afford to lose. Investments is you can't afford to lose that. So whenever you are investing in anything, I don't care what it is, whatever you guys are into, whether it's whether it's the stock market, whether it's real estate, whether it's crypto, whatever it is, that investment has it, you do have the potential to gain, but there's also the potential to lose. And if that's an investment, that's fine. But if we're talking about savings, that's completely different. We have people who come to us all the time and we ask them, okay, so where are your savings? Oh, it's in my 401k. That's not savings. Oh, it's in my IRA. That's not savings. That is an investment. Okay, so making sure that we distinguish the difference between savings versus investments. All right, and so what does that look like here? So if we take the typical asset class menu as far as where most people have their money, this is typically where. So it's either in their home or real estate. This is typically people's biggest asset. And then of course, government programs. Again, that's 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, 457s, different plans like that, HR 10 plans. Of course, there's our business. There's the New York Stock Exchange, so the stock market as a whole. There's risk investments, alternative investments, again, precious metals, crypto, whatever the case may be. All right, there's also Social Security. Now, I'm going to be 32 in October, so I'm not counting on Social Security. I'm not sure if it's going to be there for us, or at least not for me. But if you're counting on that, then all I can say is God bless you. I'm kidding. But and then also there's CDs slash the money market. And then, of course, there's just cash. So this is where typically people have their money when it comes to the asset class menu. So basically, when it comes to this, what we're seeing here is that when it comes to savings versus investments, most people, they have 75% or more in what's called investments. And then, of course, the remaining 25% is in cash, pretty much liquid assets. And so all we're talking about, we're not talking about, should I become my own bank or do this? No, it's not an and or an or. You can do both, but what it is that we're saying is you want to make sure that you are not overexposed. By that I mean 75% or more exposed here. All right. And so all we're talking about is pretty much just moving some things around. Okay, so by doing that, we're just talking about just increasing your savings, of course, keeping cash on hand, and also the infinite banking concept, being able to take advantage of different things too, while you still have the chance for opportunity for wealth accumulation. And then of course, having real estate, so that's your personal residence, or investing in real estate for my real estate investors there. And then of course, planning for your retirement, again, 401ks, SEPs, IRAs, different things of that nature. And then of course, securities, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and anything else that you may be open to. So pretty much we're just talking about lowering the percentage of your investment risk and also increasing the percentage of your savings. All right. And then lastly, or I guess one of the last things before we move into the next thing here is Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time. He said, do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. So making sure that, again, we know the difference between savings versus investments, and making sure, of course, obviously, that we are taking care of other things too as they come up. All right, so one of the major things I want to get into here before we end today is I want to get into what's called average versus actual rate of return. So I'm pretty sure many of you may have, different investment funds or whatever the case may be. But I'm pretty sure you haven't gone through the entire 50 plus, 100 plus page prospectuses that talk about the average rate of return. So I want to show you the difference as far as what's really happening with your money as it's inside the stock market. All right. And so let me ask you this here. So I'm not sure, obviously, with us here who are on, would you like to add, would you like to earn a 25% rate of return on your investments?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that participation. I want to give that to you because I'm a very polite person. All right, so we're going to take the average rate of return here. So let's say, Colleen, so let's say in year one you earned 100% on your investments, but just like what happens here in the stock market, year two we lost 50%. Okay, but year three, we're back up at 100% again. And then year four, we're back down again at 50%. So if we take all this up, and average it out, we get an average rate of return of 25%. But let's put our money where our mouth is because I just personally believe in that. All right, so pretty much we're going to take just a simple $1,000, okay? And again, taking those same numbers there. All right, so year one, we earned 100% rate of return. So that's $2,000. Year two, we lost 50%. So now we're back down to 1,000. Year three, we're back up again 100% at 2,000. Year four, we're back down $1,000. So we started with $1,000. We ended with $1,000. We did average 25%, but what did we actually earn? Zero. So what happened to my 25% rate of return? This is what we're talking about when we're talking about savings versus investments and also average versus actual rate of return. All right. So I don't want you all to get, to get discouraged. No, if you are investing there, by all means, continue doing so, but just making sure that, again, looking at your asset, looking at your asset wheel as far as where to have, the majority of your dollars. Okay. So let's take a look at what really happened in the stock market. So when we're looking at, the S&P 500, this is what happened here. And again, even if we change the dates, we're looking at 2001 through 2020. Even if we change the dates, this does not vary off here too much. Okay. So the S&P 500, it did average 8.99%. This is what really happened here. All right. But if we put some actual numbers to this, if we put some actual dollars into this, this is what really happened. So let's say that we added in $100,000. So again, we averaged 8.99%. But what we actually earned was 7.43%. So we put in 100,000. At the end of that, we got 419,000. So not bad. We more than quadrupled our money. That's not a bad day at the office. So, but now let's take a look at some other things here. Okay, there's these things called fees. If you guys have not heard of it, if you are dealing with investment firms. Now, again, because I am a very polite person, I'm only going to do 1.5%. Now, I've seen as high as 2 and sometimes in some cases 3%. But I'm going to be very generous because I'm polite. All right. So if we add in those fees, what you actually earn was 5.82%. So from 100,000, we only ended up with 309,000. So we still tripled our money, which is still not bad. But again, we're not done yet. All right. We have what's called the tax brackets. And so again, being generous here, I just put it as a 20% tax bracket. So again, if we're looking at 20 years down the road, and especially if we have these dollars in tax deferred accounts, you might actually be in a higher tax bracket, a lot higher than 20%. But again, I'm generous. So we put in 100,000 and then we ended up with 210,000. So we doubled our money, but again, we're not taking into consideration the amount of time that has gone. There's this other thing called inflation. And so we are seeing this now, especially, I'm not sure if you guys have seen the price of gas. Now, I'm not sure what the price of gas was in 2001. I wasn't even old enough to like drive at that time or anything, but it has changed. The price of food, everything that goes into, the cost of living, it has changed and
It
it's not
was
going to go down.
probably like a dollar and a half, I bet.
Oh,
I think it
wow.
was probably like $1.50, $1.95 per gallon. I'm assuming, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Jesus, I should have been driving. Let's see, 2001. I would have been like, I think I was like 9 years old. Anyway, that would have been nice to have, but now it's close to about $4. So and it's just ruining my entire soul. But anyway, moving along here. So what you actually earned was a negative 19%, a 0.19% return on your money. So you put in $100,000 and now you're at 96,000. So if you were looking to retire off of this after 20 years of, working hard, putting, consistently putting, and actually this was just a one-time deposit, mind you. If you were looking to retire off of this, you are in trouble. Okay. So this is what we mean when we're talking about average versus actual return, like what's really happening in the stock market, especially when it comes to our money, and if we are saving or attempting here to save for retirement. All right. So Robert Kiyosaki, love his books. I enjoy playing the game, and that's actually how I ended up learning about this topic of how to become your own banker. playing the cash flow board game, he had said it's not how much money you make, but it's how much you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations that you keep it for. And it's so true because a lot of us, again, following the masses, following the reassuring lie, instead of going with the inconvenient truth, this is what a lot of us fall into, this trap of, well, okay, well she's doing it, or my uncle told me this, or my aunt said this was great, or you know, well, my friend is doing it, so it must be right for me. This is what we're talking about again, just switching some things around. All right, and when it comes to that, and a lot of us ask, you know, is there a better way? And there is a better way. And so this is the typical banking system as we've gone over here. So of course there's a saver, there's a banker, and then there's a borrower. Okay. So when it comes to that, the banker is depending on us, the savers. They are depending on our deposits. Without the saver, none of this can happen. This cannot exist right here without this. All right. But just like how the bank loans out money and they charge interest, so they earn the interest and then they end up making, obviously, like we talked about with Bank of America back in 2017, they end up earning all this money and they end up paying us pennies on the dollar. Okay. How can we take control of that? All right. So when it comes to talking about your family bank, this is what we mean. Again, it all starts with earnings. Again, without the saver, i.e. here, without the earnings, none of this can work. None of this can function. So it depends on our earnings, our income. So that's whether we are in business for ourselves or that's whether we are working for somebody. It depends on our earnings. It starts there. Then of course, working with an insurance company that does properly design banking style policies like how we have. And then of course, structuring your family bank. And then of course, using